everyone is just trying to get through this as quickly and smoothly as possible, at least from the budget perspective. They're essentially trying to take DOGE and Elon Musk's recommendations and bake them into this new budget bill. One of the things that I try to remind folks is that while there's all of this market uncertainty around tariffs, cutting, and just general geopolitics, that by the end of the year, so if you're looking August to September, if we're thinking about federal fiscal year is what I'm talking about, there's likely to be some resolution and for the political sort of rhetoric to die down for a moment, because those tariff piece and the cuts are all going to have to be baked in, right? They're going to have to actually finalize them to vote on that bill.
I mean, the power of you and Michael Zizas at Morgan Stanley together is really a lot of academics. Do you see tariffs in any way moving the needle on revenue generation for the budget?
The very high end estimates is that they think they can get $1 trillion, around $1 trillion. 1.3 was the highest estimate I've seen. Realistically, it's seeing closer to maybe 700, 800 billion. But you have to take into account that they're also going to be tabulating existing tariff revenue in that. They're going to essentially be taking all tariff revenue, putting it through this external revenue service, right? A new sort of quasi agency that's going to funnel the money through the federal government to the Treasury versus just going straight to the Treasury, right? It creates a dynamic where now they can count it to the budget. So it's already existing revenues that the U.S. Treasury is already receiving, plus new. So we have to see exactly what that's going to be in total. So do the new tariffs actually move the needle that much? Not much.
Does the phrase shell game come to mind?
Not just the federal government in my mind.
She just lost me there completely.
But I
Stay
know
with us, folks.
But she knows what she's talking about. Monica, talk to us about kind of the budget, keeping the government running, the budget. I'm told, just give us the timeline. What should we be aware of here as investors?
They're going to have a final sort of blueprint by May. That's what we're expecting,
okay.
May.
And right now we're March. Okay.
Right now we're March. That you'll have an understanding of what are the top priorities. That doesn't mean that they're not going to change. They can change, as we all know, right until midnight before the bill is passed. So we're likely to get those final priorities in May, and then the Senate is really going to have to hammer out what they want this tax bill to look like. For us, when we're thinking through the cuts, the biggest risk to the economy is, do they go too far, especially on the labor piece? We're already seeing some softening with the jobs numbers and with consumer data. And so how far does the federal government go? How does that impact not just federal labor, because federal labor only accounts for 1.9% of the labor force. It's how do the second derivative, the contractors, right, get impacted?